time is just gone 9:35 a.m. and it's time now to focus on the tragedy and the disaster that has engulfed the city of Johannesburg once again. Now, early this morning, we've heard about a fire that had engulfed this five-story building in Marshalltown in Johannesburg, and the numbers, the fatalities are actually increasing by the minute. And the latest, by the time I got to the studio, the number was at around 40, and we now learned that the number is close on to 63 or 64, and there are still many bodies that are being recovered. There are many people that have been injured. Now we've learned that the mayor of the city of Johannesburg is expected to attend the scene later this morning. But again, is this now something too late? Because for a long time, Johannesburg proudly announcing to the entire world a world class African city. Is it really a world class African city? It's a city that is riddled with problems after problems, problems of crime, problems of criminals taking over buildings, hijacking all these buildings for their own benefit, the lack of services, illegal electricity connections, drug havens, all of that, and all of this, all the hallmarks of the city of Johannesburg, and calling it calling it a world class African city. Really, I don't know. I don't know whether we can really actually refer to the city as such. And following developments is our very own Faizel Patel, and he is on the line with us right now. Faizel, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to you, brother Inayat, and to the listeners of Salam Media.
Yes, we've seen now a disaster, another disaster in the making. And I know, Faisal, you have been following developments very closely, and you've basically been giving up to the minute commentary on what has been playing out. Just, Faisal, just, looking at, your reading into the situation and what has actually happened. What do we know until now?
Oh, look, I mean, there's so much that has developed since about 1:30 this morning. That's when I picked up the story, and when I searched social media and the internet, at that time there was nothing actually reported. So I was one among the first to actually report on this, and then obviously it started developing very rapidly thereafter. When I initially reported, only three people, actually four people had died, including the 1-year-old toddler was among the deaths, and he's still a 1-year-old. But I mean, there's so much. This particular building, I just want to go into some detail from what Robert Mulahuti has told me, is that this building was sort of a squatter camp in the building. Now, I know that's very difficult to explain. So let's take this building in 5 floors. Each floor, assuming it's 5 meters by 6 meters, what everything. And this particular floor would then be partitioned into five separate areas as living quarters for the people that actually lived there. So assuming there were between 30 and 40 people per floor, perhaps less or more, and each floor, you can just imagine the number of people that were living in this particular building. You also understand that most of the people that were living in the building and those that have passed away were foreign nationals. I don't want to speculate on the nationalities of the foreign nationals because this is subject to investigation. And then we also understand, obviously, the fire is under investigation, but one of the very disconcerting things is that when the fire started, it reminds you something similar to the Hillsborough disaster in the UK during a football match. When the fire started, the people couldn't get out of their respective floors because the gates were actually bolted shut. So that's very sad indeed. And then also you see that a number of areas around, a number of streets around the building has been cordoned off, obviously because of structural damage. Now you spoke about the hijacking of buildings. This plays to a bigger problem of the lack of housing in the city of Johannesburg and to people that actually need housing. Now, one of the things that Robert Mulauti, the Johannesburg EMS spokesperson, spoke to the ward councillor for that particular area is this has been coming. I mean, they haven't learned from the Joburg explosion underneath. this old infrastructure. And he gave an excuse. He said, no, I put in motions, I spoke to the council. But the question is, it's a little too late. And now 64 people has died. That number is likely to increase as emergency services go from floor to floor. But again, you'll see that Gauteng MEC Panya's Lesupi, Lebogang Mahile, and also the MEC as well. Obviously, going to go to the area and they're going to provide hopefully support to those people. But what about the accommodation? What happens after that? Where they're going to put them? Because there is no accommodation available for these unfortunate residents, and there's still the identification of the bodies as well. So another death trap building, in the city of Joburg. We've seen a number of fires. Just last week, I reported a fire at the school, not at a squatter camp in Eastern Length, where 5 children died as well. Very, very tragic indeed, and very, very sad.
Well, certainly is, Faisal, and I think this is a problem that we know has been coming. And again, the point I am making at the end of the day, you mentioned people like Fanyaz Al Sufi, the mayor of Johannesburg is going to be there. It's not that the authorities were not aware of the dangers that these buildings pose. It's not that they were not aware that these buildings have been hijacked. They're not aware. It's not that they're not aware that there are illegal electricity connections that have been taking place. And all of this, at the end of the day, even the police, Faisal, that we've learned that even the police services are actually scared to enter some of these buildings.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you want to take an example of the police being scared, you just have to look at the incident of sort of gunfire in Beverly a few weeks back, a month or so back, when I actually wrote one of those stories where the police came under fire. Remember, these foreign nationals, I would speculate on this part that some of them are actually undocumented and going into a building where there are a number of foreign nationals, perhaps, the police could put themselves in danger. But remember that the city has been doing sort of evacuations or sort of evictions in certain areas. But how much do you have time to do all this? I think it's time. One of the things, and this is very sorely lacking on authorities. I seen an interview this week about the Empuleni area where there was apparently some pipes that burst and they didn't have water. The Empuleni area would affect places like Roshni, Restaval, and Funland Park and all those areas. And one of the things that particular councillor mentioned at that time, or the MEC, I think, was that these pipes are 150 years old. So my question, and I wish I was there to ask him, was, okay, even if it is 150 years old, what were you guys doing for the past 23 years? Why didn't you replace them? And this is a similar pattern we see with the likes of ESCOM, with regard to generation capacity. I wrote a story the other day of Thabo Mbeki actually saying that they had a chance to pick up and invest in coal and that kind of stuff. So, I mean, I hope that this, and you'll see that the story is being reported internationally, that the MEC, the Gauteng Premier, perhaps even the president can open up their eyes and see that certain areas and what you call in Ayat a world-class city, in inverted commas, is it really a world-class city when businesses are sort of carrying out of the city to going to areas like Kenton and Bryanston? But again, very, very tragic indeed. I've seen some of the scenes on television this morning where loved ones were crying and hearing screams while they were being burnt. And I just want to share, unfortunately, it's a bit gruesome. Some of the bodies that were being taken out of the building were burned or were totally sort of charred. It means burned beyond recognition. So very, very sad indeed.
Well, definitely, and I see that the latest is Gift of the Givers obviously have now come to the assistance in the Joburg CBD to the extent that even assisting the firefighters. But then again, also speaks about disaster management in the city in itself, because we've seen repeatedly over and over again it's left to organizations like Gift of the Givers to come in and provide assistance as well. So we've got a serious problem actually playing out in the Johannesburg city in itself in general, because we know for a long time politicians have been fighting with each other, jockeying for positions, mayor after mayor that's been coming in and out of that position. And at the end of the day, when we see disasters like these occurring, Faisal, really it's not on. And it's about time that the authorities set up and took serious notice, but more importantly, do something about it. Faisal, Jazakallah for your time, and I'm sure you will be continuing following developments and looking forward to your updates. And I'm just scared. In fact, if the number is 64 now, I don't know what the final outcome is going to be.
And I just want to comment on the tips of the givers. I mean, they've been absolutely phenomenal in various disasters, not in Joburg, but across the globe. And Brother Imtiaz Suleiman just sending you a message now. Obviously thankful for the story that I've written about tips of the givers. Remember, these firefighters are going to be working extensively overtime to ensure that the building is completely cleared. And they have to do that because they have to do the handover to the South African Police Services, who have now opened an inquest into this particular fire. Obviously, a lot of people are going to get involved. But like you said, it's very sad indeed. And hopefully more organizations can come on board. The one thing, and I just want to obviously compliment the Muslim community, a number of organizations besides people, the neighbors, have always come to the assistance and to the fore to assist those that I need. May Allah reward them abundantly for the efforts. Inshallah, like I said, we will keep in touch and give you more updates on that. But the death toll at 64 is just, I think, a sort of a figure that's going to change until they completely sweep out that building and check every floor. The number, according to Robert Mullah, would be likely to rise, and then hopefully we can understand what actually happened as far as the tragedy is concerned.
Well, Jazakallah khairan so much for that, Faisal, and for that update. We wish you well. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.